Those who become are those who never settle. They know that there is always a better and greater version.
Believers, in times of adversity, remember to anchor your faith in God's unwavering love and promises. Trust in His divine plan and find strength in His presence. May this message serve as a source of encouragement and reaffirm your unshakable relationship with Him. Remain blessed as you listen.
So happy. There was a time, remember the mother of James and John, she wanted to come and see him. The disciples stopped her and said, what is it? We're in a move. We're enjoying. You see why they were angry when Jesus said he was going. They said, well, what is all this one now? So what is our own take on this? You have created trouble for us and now you want to leave. You are not going anywhere. And Jesus said, no, it is expedient that I go. I'm going because you will now be on the center stage with the Holy Spirit. And they refused. Jesus was secured enough to finish his assignment and to step back to say, Spirit of the living God, these are the ones that represent the next move. Use them mightily. I will still be glorified. I'm digressing to make this statement so that you will understand. I have seen a lot of people who started great things in the body, and today they are not benefactors of the next move because their attachment and their ego will not give them the flexibility to blend into what God was doing. And so because they are being inert in the next move of God, will have to require an explanation. So they will fabricate an explanation that communicates error, and they'll say, forget about those people. That's one of the reasons why so many people have insulted the prophetic today. I know that the prophetic has its own errors. I know if the prophetic has its own imbalances. But many people, because the dealings of God at that time did not open up to this dimension. There are people, for instance, who will see what just happened here and say, no way, God does not move like this. This is nonsense. Just because God did not move the way he was moving before does not mean he's not the one moving. The flexibility to discern the next move of God, and that if you are interested, you open up your heart and say, Lord, I must not pioneer that move to join what you are doing. If it is God and it brings glory to you, I'm on my way going. It's a very difficult thing. Difficult thing. If you are a follower, it's okay. But if you are one who moves, why will you see Mary among the 120 sitting quietly? I have looked for certain names who were once great names in the body, in as much as the move of the Spirit within their time was there, and those names are almost silent, and there has been no interest to find out what else is God doing. And sometimes they have begun to teach that, look, anything that is outside the scope of what we know is nonsense. That is a dangerous thing. That is the mistake of John. John would have followed Jesus quietly and he would have died honorably. There would have been no reason for being beheaded. In every crusade, Jesus would have given him honor. Even the scribes were given honor. As terrible were, they never sat outside. They sat inside. They hated him, but at least they followed. They followed. Nicodemus came one day and said, Jesus, let me tell you, we are not stupid. We know. We know. We see what you are doing. We see the formation of a new move. We know that you are a man sent from God. For no man can do these things except God be with him. Except God be with him. I'm taking our time to establish this before we begin to build. I just felt it strongly in my spirit to tell us. Do you know why I'm saying this? Zaria, hear me. You are a privileged place. This is a place that God has put his hand very strongly. And many people from here, Listen, God is distributing people from this city across several places. And you see, when you get to some of those regions, you will be surprised that as cheap as some of these revelations we trivialize are, you will find out that some of those regions are in utter scarcity. And you will be so relevant within a period. And if you do not sustain the discernment to know what next, when people come into that dimension, and you don't know how to come up hither, you will be in big trouble. You will become the biggest enemy to the next move of God. Alexander Dowie was a mighty healing evangelist. Listen carefully. He created what we call Zion, the Zion city. Are we together now? When, then they didn't have internet and communication was not strong. So you couldn't know what was happening in another part of the world. Dowie was doing a mighty work until a strange woman later appeared called Maria Woodward-Eater. Listen, when Maria Woodward-Eater appeared, she introduced a dimension of the move of God that they call presence evangelism. That was when people would fall down like this and literally freeze in the same position for hours, having heavenly encounters. And she was a woman. Until then, Dowie was not aware that something was happening at the other side of the world. The day Alexander Dowie heard it, history has it, this is confirmed, Alexander Dowie told everybody that this woman, number one, as a woman, number two, this dimension was occultism, and he used his influence to fight that woman. Her first husband joined that conviction and fought her till he died. The current move of God usually will be the biggest challenge to the next move of God. The same way the law was the biggest challenge to the grace of God. Remember that the Sanhedrin Council started by the impartation of the spirit of Moses upon 70 elders. That's how it started. Eventually it had now become a religious place, and when Jesus came, they could not even identify him. So John had exhausted all his revelation within a dimension he had seen. Had John returned back, John would never believe that there were higher dimensions. But then the angel told him, come up hither. Please prophesy to somebody, say, come up hither. Come up hither. And I will show you the things that must happen. I call what I just explained to you the tragedy of complacency that comes with a successful move of God. It is a complacency. It is weaved in men. It's a weakness in men. That when you are successful in executing God's desire for a season, usually the impetus to inquire, Lord, can there be more, will not be there, because there are obvious evidences. Nobody can come and say you are not anointed. Nobody can say you are not intelligent. The records are there to show that you are anointed. The records are there to show you have built a great church. The records are there to show you are mighty. Let me give you an instance. In Nigeria today, the pattern of church growth is that there usually will be a central church, like a headquarters. Is that true? And then you will now have branches all together connected. Do you know that was not how it was before? There was a move of God that brought that formation. Do you know what the next move is? Because many young people in our generation now, every dimension you climb has the strategy for the move of God. I'm not saying that is wrong. You understand what I'm saying? So the way God revealed to our fathers, most of them, you will find out that there is a central headquarters. Is that true? That coordinates everything. Then there are branches around the world. It was never like that in the history of Nigeria.